So I have a problem. These are my trays of ranunculus. I have 4 trays behind me, 2 over there, along with about 2 dozen anemones that need to be planted outside. They are ready to go out and be planted into the ground, but right now outside kind of looks like this. So while all these plants are ready to go outside, outside is not yet ready for these plants. But I do have a plan. Inside this 6 by 9 foot unheated greenhouse, there is space for me to move these outside. And in fact, there are ranunculus growing in here that have been planted out for a few months now, and they've survived incredibly cold temperatures with just a few layers of frost cloth. So I know that they can handle whatever the rest of March chooses to bring until the time that the soil temperature is warm enough for me to plant them out. So far, this grow shelf is completely full. I have 3 shelves with lights on them. I have 2, the upper 2 shelves are other seedlings, and the bottom one is just for ranunculus. And I've actually been swapping out because I have twice as many trays as will actually fit on this shelf. The lights are on from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So at 2 p.m., I believe, which is the halfway point, I come down and I swap them out. And that is definitely not a perfect system. But with all of these trays moving out to the greenhouse, I'll have room for all the seeds that I still need to start over the next week or so. So I need to get to work and get all of these trays outside. And there they are, ready to go. Oh, and those. Here is the thing. I've been overwintering a lot of stuff in here, and I need to do some rearranging before I can fit all these in here. At the moment, it looks like this. There's all the ranunculus is planted all in this bed here, so I can't put anything on top of that. I have a bunch of things overwintering in here. There is, I think, 6 pots of eucalyptus back there, some hardy gladiolas, a couple of boxwood cuttings, some random stuff. These are the saffron crocus, which I put in pots because I ran out of ground space. That's temporary, and there's a couple more up here. That foliage on the saffron crocus is evergreen, so it's not going to die back until it starts to get hot. Probably June, I think. June, July, it tends to die back, maybe earlier. So I would like to put the ranunculus up on these shelves, but I brought these up here because these pots were still frozen, and I kind of wanted to thaw them out a little bit. But I think the ranunculus is more important, so I'm going to move those. I might be able to get one of these giant pots in this spot in front of the door. I think I need a bigger greenhouse. Okay. It is too hot in here for my coat. Is this the last one? Yay! I know I can fit 3 10 by 20 trays on each of these shelves, just slightly overhanging a little bit. So that is what we're gonna do. And guys, it was 28 degrees when I came in here today, so that, you see that window? No, you can't. That window gets opened. I can probably open it a bit more. And I can open the window on the other side. It's just a lot harder to get to because there's pots in the way. So this one is just fine, and with that one open, it is still 24 degrees Celsius in here. And just for reference, it is 2 outside. So that's a 22-degree difference just from the sun. Now that the shelves are cleared off, I'm going to go get the rest of those ranunculus and bring them out. And this one can go on the floor. There we go. Oops, I don't like that. It's already broken. All right, let's have a look. All right, there are the top trays, and I've made sure to turn them so that you could actually see the labels, which is helpful. This is the cream and mustard, as well as 10 anemone corms from Two Birds One Stone Farm, which is local to me. These are my dark pink, which I think might be Bonbon that I've saved from last year. These are, oh yeah, I turned that one. This is Salmon and Pauline. Oh, I lied. These are the ones from Two Birds, One Stone local farm, and this is the one from Ontario. And then these ones here are the anemones that are just starting to come up, as well as those special red and gold ones that I found last year, which have not actually come up yet, which is worrying. I know that they rooted. That's when I separated them and put them in their own pots. So time will tell, but I'm hoping that those will come up, at least one of them. And on the lower shelf, we have the Amandine Marshmallow, we have the Amandine Salmon, and this must be the white. Yeah. So there are somewhere in the range of 200 corms up here. Oh yeah, and the rest of the anemones down on the ground. So I did move this. This just has ivy and one eucalyptus. And I'm not sure if that eucalyptus has survived. It can lose all its leaves. That's just fine. We'll just have to wait a couple months and see if we see some new growth. And over there, those are the rest of the eucalyptus right there. And there is some green growth on those. Those are all in 1 gallon pots, so I'm very happy that survived. And the best one is my little rosemary topiary thing here, or soon to be topiary, and the thyme, which is beautiful. And we've actually been using some of this throughout the winter. So I still have to relocate all my frost cloth. So I better do that next. There we go. There is a method to my madness, I promise. There we go. So the plan with these is I could plant them into bulb crates if the weather does not cooperate. There is also, my current ranunculus planting ends right here, so I could come all the way across this way, that's about 3 feet, and then down that way, all the way to where these bricks are right there. Once I can move all these pots, that is. Can we just take a moment and notice that I have crocuses coming up in this pot? Actually, some of these pots can go on my front step soon. I'm just not sure when the right time to do it is. There's something coming up in here as well. I've forgotten everything that I planted. I did stuff some spring bulbs in these pots. So there's at least 3 or 4 of them that can go out on the front step fairly shortly. But let's have a look at these ranunculus. Most of them look just like this. They haven't grown a ton. It's been cold and overcast for the last few days, so I haven't uncovered them in about 3 days. But generally during the day, as long as the temperature can climb up to +10 or so, that's Celsius, then I will take off the frost cloth during the day. And I have this thermometer that lives in here all the time. We are at about 7 degrees Celsius, and I can't see the Fahrenheit, but I'll put that on the screen for you. And I think I'm just going to move this to a new spot. Oh, there's a new shoot. There we go. So I've been keeping an eye on the soil temperature because at this point, that is what is most important. There's 2 feet of snow outside, but there's life in here. So all of this obviously depends on the weather. If we have a look over here, it's so sunny. So these 2 beds is where I had my ranunculus planted last year. Now that one is full of tulips along with that one. And this one over here is, well, they're all still covered in snow. It'll likely be close to a month before I can plant in there. So we'll take a look at what the weather does and then we'll make a plan in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, let's head back into the grow room and we'll see what else I have growing. And we are back. There's quite a difference from the beautiful, warm, sunny greenhouse back to the chilly basement grow room, but I would spend an awful lot of time out there if only I had room for a chair. So here we are on the top shelf. Now I should mention we are still 12 weeks away from our last frost, so everything that I have here is frost tolerant and can be planted out around 4 to 6 weeks before our last frost, depending on the weather. So tray number 1 has Chabot carnations. I grew a few carnations last year and they grew really well in our soil, so I got some nice Chabot La France and Chabot Marie Chabot, I'm pretty sure. This one is Larkspur. And this is interesting. The back is larkspur splish splash. We had fantastic germination, and in the front is light pink, which hardly came up at all. I think there are 2. Nope, 3. Nope, 4. Okay. I also have a full row of larkspur overwintering outside, so I'm not too worried. But the difference in germination is really interesting. Now the light pink is only just starting to come up, so I may get a few more, and these plants get pretty big, so that's just fine. It's still way more than I had last year. Next we have stock. The first tray, I have a lot more to start, and these are due to be potted up, so I think I'm going to put these into cell packs. These are all 3/4 inch soil blocks, by the way. The second tray of Lisianthus, which you probably can't even see, but there's about 70% germination in there. And the Bells of Ireland. I did not cold stratify these. However, I did collect the seed from my own plants last year after we had a good couple of frosts, so that might have taken care of that. And they are just starting to develop their first true leaves. So these need to be taken out and potted up individually. Shelf number 2, we have smaller quantities of things, and some of these are just coming up, starting with Godetia, and then some more Dianthus. These are Sweet Williams, only just starting to come up. This one is Iceland poppies. I don't think you can see those, but they are starting to germinate. Iceland poppies. Then we have pennycress. Each of these trays has 60 soil blocks on it, by the way. And the green trays up on top have 160. This one is Buplurum. Is that Buplurum? Yep, that one's Buplurum. This one is Feverfew. I have 2 varieties this year. We have Venmo Single and Tetra White. I also have some overwintering outside. And this one is Yarrow Summer Berries. Shelf number 3, which I will take out because these lights are a lot closer to the plants than they were on the other shelves. Just a few bachelor's buttons that I'm going to tuck into my ornamental beds. So I don't really want too many of those this year. And then we have the Lisianthus, which I did pop into cell trays because I know they do appreciate a little more root space. So there are 48 in this tray and then 96 in these ones. Plus what we have up there, which will get potted up. These ones are 3 weeks behind the other ones, so in about 3 weeks they'll get potted up as well. So it looks like I should have between 200 and 300, and I'm very happy with that. Oh, and I almost forgot one of my favorites, this tray of snapdragons, and these are, let's see, I have Rocket Lemon, Potomac Apple Blossom, Twinny Peach, and Twinny White. And that is 40 of each. So there are 160 minus any that didn't germinate, but it looks pretty full. Let's say 140 to 150 snapdragons in this tray. So there's where we are at the moment. We have 6 of those green trays, which each hold 160 soil blocks, and 7 of those little plastic trays, which each hold 60. And then we have a handful of bachelor's buttons and 144, I think, Lisianthus down there that have just been potted up. So this lower tray is where all of the Ranunculus were. And almost everything here, I think everything actually, is cold hardy, which means when the Ranunculus get planted out and I have room in the greenhouse, most of this can then get moved out into the greenhouse also. If the weather doesn't cooperate, the soil blocks will have to be potted up, but I'm keeping a close eye on that. I think those stock will be potted up for sure anyway, and likely those carnations as well, and definitely the snapdragons. So that leads me to what I'm going to plant next. I definitely need to do another tray of snapdragons, another tray of stock. I think it's too late to start more Lisianthus, although I do have seeds. I might do it anyway. And that's just the flowers. I have veggies that I'm going to start too. And other than peppers, I can't think of anything that I have that can be started now. So let's go have a look in my seed box and then I'll be able to tell you. So what am I starting next? Many, many things. This is my pile of vegetables, and this is just the first round. First I have peppers. I have 1 hot pepper, and it's a medium hot. It doesn't have a lot of heat to it at all, which is all we want. We're not a fan of anything overly spicy, but these Criolla Stella peppers I really like. They're small little orange things, just a little bit of heat, and that's perfect. I have Yankee Bell and King Arthur, which I grew last year. These are all old seed, by the way. Mini sweet peppers. This was a little lunchbox size pepper, and these were peppers I picked up from the grocery store and just saved the seeds. And I grew them last year, and they were 5 feet tall in the greenhouse, and they produced really, really well. And then I have leeks, which I could have started ages ago. Actually, all of these are old seed. Green onions, I have a regular parade variety, and I also have red. They're bunching onions, but they're red rather than white, and those are called Red Baron. Oh, asparagus. I thought I'd try growing asparagus from seed. These seeds are new. I have Magic Carpet Thyme, Lavender Elegance White, and Rosemary. Those I need to start really soon. So these 4 are new packs, and all of these are old ones. So I mentioned before that I hardly bought any seeds at all this year because I have so many. That is pile 1 of 4. And this is the rest of them. This is my seed box. I know it's trendy to store your seeds in plastic at the moment, but I like this system. I've got a little paper organizer thing in there that just keeps everything in 4 main categories. And anytime that I buy something that has those little desiccant packets, I toss it in there. If any of these packs have any moisture in it, I don't want to lock that in by storing these in plastic, so I keep it in cardboard. It lives in my basement up on a shelf where it's really cool, but fairly near to the dehumidifier as well. So, and I always toss my extra desiccant packets in there. So that has worked really well, and I've had some seeds for 5 or 6 years that still germinate pretty well. So that is my seed stash. These are the flowers. These are the flowers that I'm going to start next. So it's quite a lot. We're still on to the cool flowers too. These are all frost tolerant things. So we have another round of snapdragons. I have bridal pink, twinny peach, apple blossom. These are all ones that I've started already. So what I'm going to start next is Sonnet Crimson, Potomac Royal, Potomac Early Sunrise. Ooh, that's a nice one. So those are the snapdragons. For stock, I have Column Avalanche. I have Cat's Cherry Blossom, Stock Buttercream, and High Double White, and purple. Yeah. And Status. I haven't started any Status yet, and I have some new colors for this year too. Last year I grew the Johnny's Status Formula Mix, and this year I got Apricot, Pastel Blue, and Seeker Blue. The Pastel Blue and the Apricot especially I wanted. This was part of the seed order that I placed in the fall because I did not want to risk those being sold out. So I'm going to start at least a full green tray of Status that is 160. I'm going to start Foxglove, Wild Foxglove. I'm going to start some sweet peas, and these were just packets that I picked up, I think, at the grocery store last year. I have Mid Blue, which is more of a purple, and I have white, and I have pink. So I don't sell sweet peas, I just love to have them in the garden. Chinese Forget-Me-Not, Cineglossom. These I need to read up on again because I forget when they need to be planted if they're frost tolerant. I think they are a cool flower, but I'm going to double check on that before I start these. I have the blue Chinese Forget-Me-Not and Mystery Rose. The blue is called Firmament. And I'm going to start one more round of Larkspur. Now the ones I have overwintering are Giant Imperial White and Giant Imperial Mix. And I have, what was the ones that I had started downstairs? I have a pink. The light pink was the one that did not germinate, so I'm going to put this on a tray on its own and try again with that one. I also have Carmine that I'm going to start along with another round of white. Then I'm going to do a succession of Bupleurum, and these are from Floret, these ones. I have Graffiti Bupleurum, I have Pennycress, and I'm going to start some more Iceland poppies too. So I think that will do it. Other than everything you saw in that box, which was a lot, and all of those seeds that I just showed you, I have a handful here that I've picked up at the grocery store. Some tomatoes and some spinach, and just a couple of border flowers as well. Some snapdragons and some zinnias that are small, like bedding plant size. Because although I'm not doing a seedling sale, I like to have a couple of varieties of flowering plants to sell at the farmer's market because they're always highly requested. So the snapdragons are going to be started soon, but the zinnias won't be started until much, much later. So I think that just about does it on my seedling update. I will let you know how the ranunculus and anemones are handling being outside. And we will do a full seedling tour in a couple of weeks as well. But that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. It's time to tuck everything in for the night. I'm going to stick this thermometer in here, and that'll give me an idea of how cold it gets under the frost cloth. Nighty night.